In the kingdom of Eiravel, where snow blanketed the land year-round and the northern winds whispered secrets through the towering ice castles, Queen Saphyra ruled with an iron heart. She was known as the Ice Queen, not just for the perpetual winter that surrounded her, but for her cold, calculating nature. She was feared and revered, her rule absolute and her heart untouchable. For years, many had tried to melt her icy demeanor. Princes, noblemen, even poets who sang ballads of her beauty. Yet none succeeded. Her heart, they said, was made of frozen crystal, impervious to warmth or love. However, none knew the truth. Once, long ago, she had loved, and that love had betrayed her, leaving her encased in emotional frost. Unlike the noblemen who had tried to woo her with grand gestures, Lucien was no prince, no warrior of renown. He was a rogue, a thief of words and hearts, a wanderer who thrived in the shadows of court life. His reputation preceded him, a man who could charm the stars from the sky and the secrets from the tightest lips. But his greatest talent was stealing what could not be stolen. Lucien had no interest in ruling, no grand ambitions of power. But when he heard of Queen Saphyra, of her frigid heart and untouched affections, he became intrigued. Stealing gold and jewels was one thing, but stealing the heart of the Ice Queen, that would be the greatest heist of all. He arrived at the frozen capital of Eiravel, under the guise of an ambassador's scribe. With a silver tongue and a mischievous glint in his eye, he wove his way into the queen's court. He never approached her with grand proclamations or tedious flattery. Instead, he observed her, noting the small things others missed, the way her fingers clenched when she was frustrated, the almost invisible softness in her eyes when she gazed at the falling snow, the ghost of a smile when she thought no one was watching. One evening, during a grand ball held in the great ice palace, Lucien made his move. Instead of asking for a dance as the others did, he leaned in and whispered, "Do you ever tire of all this?" Queen Saphyra arched a delicate brow. "Tire of what?" "The cold, the masks, the endless parade of men trying to impress you," he mused, tilting his head. "I bet none of them have ever asked you what you want." A flicker of something passed through her icy blue eyes, something dangerously close to curiosity. "And you presume to ask?" he smirked. "A thief must know the value of what he steals." That night marked the beginning of a dangerous game. Lucien did not try to woo her with gifts or empty words. Instead, he challenged her, teased her, made her laugh, something she had long forgotten how to do. He spoke to her as a person, not as a queen. And in doing so, he cracked the frozen walls around her heart, little by little. But Saphyra was not blind. She knew what Lucien was, knew that he had never stayed in one place for long. She had seen his type before, men who thrived on the chase, on the conquest. And so she tested him, pushing him away, daring him to leave as all others had. Yet Lucien stayed. When assassins sought to claim her throne, he was there, defending her with a blade sharper than his wit. He fought not just for the crown she wore, but for the woman she was beneath it. He bled for her, defying all who sought to destroy her, and in doing so, proved that loyalty was not always bound to a title. When the burden of ruling grew too heavy, he was there, offering her stolen moments of respite beneath the midnight auroras. He led her beyond the palace walls, to hidden alcoves where the world did not demand her presence, where she could be simply Saphyra, not the untouchable Ice Queen. And when the ghosts of her past threatened to drag her back into the abyss, he was there, holding her hand, whispering that she was more than her pain, that she was not defined by the betrayal that had once shattered her. In the end, it was not Lucien who stole Saphyra's heart. She gave it to him, piece by fragile piece, until the Ice Queen was no more. and in her place stood a woman who dared to love again? And as for Lucien, the charisma thief who had once sought only a challenge, he found himself ensnared in the greatest theft of all, for it was his heart that had been stolen in return. And so, the rogue remained, no longer a mere thief, but a king of her heart, forever bound to the queen who had once ruled alone.